This is a demonstration of a CSurf attack for mission 1. So we have two clients on the left here. This client is hosting a website for a bank, and this one is hosting the same website except it's a mirror, obviously. The server is also running a DNS server that it will use to get the client to connect to its mirror site. In the middle we have client number 3. This is the main router. It's also running a DNS server. And then here's the internal router. It's running a DNS forwarder that forwards DNS queries from this client to the mysecurebank.com website, which is currently on IP 10.4.17.155. So we're running a /26 subnet, which means that these three are on the same subnet. This main router and the internal router are on the same subnet, and then the internal router and the client are on the same subnet as well. So what's happening here is this internal router, if we reset it here, has a router login page. When we log into it, we get an option to change the DNS server. So currently we can see what the DNS queries are for MySecureBank by doing an NS lookup, or we could do a dig. But we can modify the DNS server by just submitting this form here that doesn't have any sort of protection on it other than making sure the user has a cookie to access it. So now when we do an NS lookup, it's pointing to the attacker's website. So now if we go to mysecurebank.com, we're going to go to the mirror site and we're going to log in there, which is bad. So if we put that back to 130 here, please. Okay. So now it's pointing to the original website. So when we go to the original, or to MySecureBank, we get this lovely form up. And then this is all hard coded. We didn't do too much in this area, but as you can see on this client, it logs the username and password, which, I mean, I guess it shouldn't do, but for the purposes of this demonstration, we have it set up that way. And this is also running the same website, and it's going to have the same functionality. So let's suppose the user is logged into the internal router website, and they get a phishing email, which we will assume this is an email that we received, and it's a Canvas notification saying that you have to complete a router assignment. So you click to view it, and this connects you to the to a CSurf website, or a website that executes a CSurf attack. In essence, what it is doing is, we have a better demonstration if I go to, so it's running on port 666. So what it's doing is using WebRTC to find the client's internal IP address, and based on the paper that we read, the internal router would have a lower IP than the client. So what it does is it takes the client's IP and then decrements one by one, and then it sends a ping request to that IP address from the client. The ping address isn't a real ping address. It's simply a JavaScript ping where the JavaScript tries to download some sort of data from each IP address, and it keeps trying until it downloads something. So once it reaches, so the client's on, it is number 3, 10.4.17.3, and the router is 10.4.17.1. So if you saw here, it checks this one, it gets a timeout, checks here, and it gets a response because it's able to download some HTML. So it forwards the user to this address /DNS settings. Obviously, the attacker wouldn't know like what the form would be from just this, but there are ways for an attacker to determine what the form would be and what the internal router is based on the images hosted on the website. So now that we've changed that the attack succeeded, we now have a new DNS, which is the DNS running on this client. So when we go to mysecurebank.com and log in, all those details are displayed right here. I could do that again, just so. So yeah, now the attacker has the login details and has successfully executed a CSurf attack. So the way we defend against this is by employing some cryptography and using a token field in the form that we make sure is there when the form is submitted, and also using the user's cookie value. And we create an HMAC from the two of those and a secret key that's stored on the server. There's more details in our paper. But if I go to CD secure router, so this is the router that will employ some security on the login page. So right away when we go to login, you can't execute the attack. Let's see if I can. So this is running the same script as the dashboard one before was. So yeah, it takes you to the login page. But let's say the user is logged in. Now when we inspect the element, we'll see that there's a hidden form field and it has a value. So this value is generated when the user gets the website. So now when this website tries to send this form that's hidden, or it should be hidden, this form right here, there's only one input field, and that's just the router, or the new DNS IP address. So when we try that attack again, nope, 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 nope. When we try the attack again, we go here, it scans, and then it fails. And then as you can see here, we have HMACs that are generated during the post and the get. And as we could see here, this is the one that was generated during the get. This is the one that was generated during the post. So obviously there's some details missing between the two. And then it redirects you back so you get a new one. So now if I try and type in, if I do switch back to 130, so if I do an NS lookup, my secure bank. So right now it's pointing to the attacker's website. If I switch it here, it switches. As we can see, the two HMACs are lining up. I'm not sure what that is. Probably something I forgot to comment out. And then when we do an NS lookup, we're back to the original IP address. And the way this is being switched is in here we have this line that specifies which server to go to. So when we run the script for the server and everything gets authenticated, we execute a command that essentially just looks for that line and then replaces it with the new DNS address, and it restarts the Bind9 server. So that in essence is our attack and defense. And then I'll show a little bit of how the HMAC is being computed here. Oh, this is the unsecure one. This is the secure one. So when a user, this is the post request. So here in the get request, we generate a random cookie value, and that's stored inside of the cookie. Then we generate a random hash, and this hash is put into the form field when we render the page.